family of 5 goes to sleep in a remote mountain cabin. By morning, 4 of them are dead, bound, beaten, stabbed. The killers were never found. The town disappeared, and one little girl simply vanished for 3 years, only to be found alive, refusing to speak a word. The Keddie murders trigger our deepest fears. A remote location, a shattered family, incompetent authorities, and a survivor too traumatized to tell us the truth. The case remained officially open but cold for over 40 years. A missing skull, a child who lived, a town that sealed its lips. No one was ever charged. It is the pure nightmare of unresolved evil, real, close, and still out there. The combination of quadruple homicide plus missing child, plus rural isolation, plus survivor mystery, plus zero justice is a perfect storm for YouTube. The Cabin 28 detail is iconic. People recognize the name. It belongs in the same conversation as JonBenet Ramsey and the Black Dahlia. Yet most casual audiences have never heard of it. That gap is the viral engine. In the Sierra Nevada mountains, where the pines grow so thick the sun barely reaches the forest floor, there is a place called Keddie, a quiet resort town, a place families came to escape. But on the morning of April 11th, 1981, something was found inside Cabin 28 that nobody in this town has been able to escape from since. Glenna Sharp was 36 years old. She had 5 children and not much money. When she found an affordable cabin in Keddie, a small resort community in Plumas County, California, she thought she'd found a second chance. The rent was low, the air was clean, the mountains felt safe. She moved in with her kids, Sheila, 19, John, 15, Tina, 12, Ricky, 10, and little Greg, 5 years old. By most accounts, Glenna was a warm woman, trying to hold things together alone. The cabin wasn't much, a small, worn-down unit in a row of identical resort cabins. But it was theirs. The night of April 10th, 1981 was a Friday. Sheila, the eldest daughter, had gone to sleep at a neighbor's cabin. She was safe. She didn't know that yet. Inside Cabin 28, Glenna and her son John had allowed a family friend, a teenage boy named Dana Wingate, to stay the night. Dana was 17. He had nowhere else to go that evening. Tina, 12 years old, went to bed in her room. So did the younger boys, Ricky and Greg. But sometime before dawn, in the hours between the last ember in the fireplace and the first gray light through the pines, something came through that door. Something that would leave investigators speechless. Something that would haunt this town for over 4 decades. The next morning, Sheila walked back to Cabin 28. She opened the door. What she saw inside that living room ended her childhood in a single moment. Glenna Sharp, her brother John, and Dana Wingate, all 3 bound and beaten with a hammer and stabbed repeatedly. The violence was described by investigators as frenzied, savage beyond reason. The kind of scene that makes seasoned detectives go quiet. Tina was gone. 12-year-old Tina Sharp, simply gone. Ricky and Greg, the 2 youngest boys, were found alive and unharmed in their bedroom. They had slept through the entire thing, or something had kept them that way. The investigation began, and almost immediately it fell apart. Plumas County was a small rural jurisdiction. The sheriff's department had limited resources and even more limited experience with a crime of this magnitude. Evidence was mishandled. Witnesses were questioned inadequately. The cabin itself was eventually demolished, a crime scene destroyed. Suspects were named, local men with troubled histories, but no arrests were ever made. For 3 years, Tina Sharp remained missing. Her family, her community, the few investigators who still cared, they kept asking, was she taken? Was she a witness? Was she still alive somewhere in those mountains? In 1984, the answer came. Partial remains, a skull, a jaw, and other bones were found 50 miles away near a highway. DNA would later confirm it was Tina. She had been 12 years old, but there was something else, something that baffled even the forensic experts. When investigators later reviewed the physical evidence, they noticed that a small piece of evidence, a hammer handle, had been linked by DNA to a local man named Martin Smart and another man, John Bo Bubaid. Both were dead by the time DNA technology caught up. No charges, no trial, no verdict, no justice. Sheila Sharp spent her life carrying what she saw through that door. Ricky and Greg grew up in the shadow of a night they could not remember but could never fully leave behind. The resort town of Keddie shrank.